This man played his last match at the US Open today, losing to Ben Shelton in 3 straight sets. Dominic Thiem took the court for the last time in his amazing career at a place that he had won his only major at the US Open and said goodbye to New York. We're going to cover that story as well as all the other action on day 1 here at the US Open with Novak Djokovic getting through also in straight sets. There was a lot of matches. There was one big upset we're going to talk about, and we're going to look forward to day 2 here on the Slice because that's what we do. Welcome to the show, presented by Betway. Okay, the tournament is underway. The US Open has started, and things are rolling. And to be honest, a little bit of a depressing way. Dominic Thiem has officially played his last US Open match. I think that's pretty clear now. I will say I'm an eternal optimist. So I said it when he announced his retirement that I think, if he could turn this season around and find his level, maybe he won't actually hang it up. But I think based on what we saw today, it will be happening. And he had a nice send-off on Arthur Ashe today, but we'll get more into that. Djokovic played. He got his campaign underway for number 25. A bunch of other players were on today, half the draw, and the other half will go tomorrow. So yeah, we're going to get into the Djokovic match, the team retirement, and some other matches. But first, best bets of the day, a presentation by Betway. The best place to bet is Betway, 19 plus to play in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Please play responsibly. All right, so we already talked about the outright winners at the US Open, but I got a little sneaky pick for you for tomorrow. Our girl, Canadian, Bianca Andreescu versus Jasmine Paolini. Now, Jasmine Paolini has been unbelievable this year, and she has beaten Bianca Andreescu already this year, and she's rightly put as the favorite. The match winner, though, she's the minus 223 favorite to win with Bianca Andreescu at plus 175 as the favorite or as the not favorite to win. So I think there's some value in Bianca Andreescu in general, but especially here because this isn't the natural surfaces anymore where Paolini thrives. Grass, clay. She played amazing on both, made the finals of the French and Wimbledon. Bianca Andreescu's won the US Open before. This is her surface, and it's the first round, and it's going to be a big match. So I like the play of, this is crazy, Bianca Andreescu to win 2-1. So in 3 sets, Bianca does not get it done in 2 sets very often. She likes the drama. She does it in 3. But if she beats Paolini in 3 sets, it's at plus 425. So you throw $10 on there, you can win 52. I'm just saying that's a value play. That's going to be a great match you're going to be watching anyway. So that's just a little extra fun. That was their best bets of the day, a presentation from our friends at Betway. Okay, let's get into the results of today. And the big one that we're talking about is Dominic Thiem. Yeah, Dominic Thiem is done, and I'm sad. I'm not going to lie. I'm sad. It's a sad thing to me. I'm not going to let go of it. I don't get over it because Dominic Thiem is one of the baddest tennis players to ever play the game. And for all those non-English as a first language speaker, baddest does not mean he wasn't good. He was brutal out on the court against when he was at his top form to play. Just go back and watch in 2020, the year-end championships, or 2019 or 2018, but those 2020, 2019, the year-end championships, matches against Djokovic and others on the indoor hard courts. Just some of the biggest shots you'll see, the way he could play the backhand, the single-handed backhand. And I've always been an optimist. And, 2 years ago in Gstaad, I got to talk with him in person many times about, Nicolas Massou, his coach, what that meant, that relationship meant to him. At that time, they were still together. Then they broke up. But Nicolas Massou was actually back in his box today to watch him in what they all probably knew was going to be his last match at Arthur Ashe in New York. That was a special moment because that partnership brought him from clay court next Rafa Nadal to all court player to winning his only major because of his injury on hard court here in New York. So a lot of special moments out there today, but me being an optimist, like I said, I always feel like they can come back. But watching Dominic Thiem there, play against Ben Shelton today, it's pretty clear that it's not coming back. And he obviously knows that. That's why he is hanging it up at the end of this year. And I actually haven't watched too much of Dominic Thiem's matches as of late. Definitely not in detail because it's actually hard to kind of watch. Like you remember what it has been and you see what it is now. And the forehand just doesn't have the acceleration that it did. The backhand doesn't seem to have the strength either. And it's just painful to watch. And I'm sure it's painful to be Dominic Thiem for him because you know what you're capable of. So yeah. But let's not be sad about that it's over. Let's be happy that it happened. But it's so hard when you feel like this guy's career got cut short and his success got cut short. He would have been such a great ingredient into the mix here with Sinner, with Alcaraz, with Djokovic, with Medvedev. He would have added to the mix to be right in the mix with all those guys, and you know he deserved to be. So hats off, shout out to one of the best players to ever play the game. I'll say that. He's up there. He won a major, but he didn't only win a major. He contended with the big three. He beat the big three multiple times each. And in big matches, he beat Federer in the Indian Wells final. He beat Djokovic in the semifinals of the French Open and at the World Tour finals. And he beat Nadal on clay multiple times, like 4+ times. Just crazy. Anyways, Dominic Thiem, shout out. You're one of the best ever. It's really sad to see you go. Please stay around tennis. That would be awesome. Anyways. 1 second. The mouth gets dry talking about sad emotional things. Anyways, also sad today. Diego Schwartzman. Diego and Tommy, they've played epic matches over the years. They also say goodbye to Diego Schwartzman, who was able to qualify for the US Open, which is epic, but he's also said it's going to be his last year, and he lost today. It was actually, this is a very kind of funny way to lighten the mood. They gave Dominic Thiem on court a picture with a collage of all amazing photos from the US Open, with the one in the center of him holding the trophy, winning the tournament. He has so many amazing memories there. And they didn't want to leave Diego out, so they gave him a collage as well of his photos from the US Open. And it's like a bunch of photos of him hitting forehands and drop shots and backhands and like celebrating. There's no like trophy. So it's kind of funny, just the difference. They both, you both get a plaque. One of you has you won the tournament on it, and other one has like nice shots. Anyway, so that was a way to chuckle after a little bit of emotions today at the U.S. National Training Center. Billie Jean BGK Cup, or not Cup, National, I don't know, whatever it's called. Anyways, Djokovic plays today against Radu Albot, and he wins. No shocker there. I was joking with my wife as we were watching the match. Radu Albot might be the least dangerous player to a guy like Djokovic or to really any of the top guys there is out there, but he's a pro. He's a pro's pro. And that's not a diss against him to say that. He's a guy that wins the matches he should win, is tough against a lot of players, and just hangs around in the top 100 of the ATP Tour rankings, which pays the bills very nicely. And there's a lot of players who lose to guys like Radu Albot, and when they're, they have a higher ceiling than Radu Albot does, but he has a higher floor. And that's a big deal. So anyways, Djokovic looked it was just a weird match. It's like 6-2, 6-2, 6-3, I think. Djokovic didn't play great tennis for most of it. Probably was in third gear. So really not much to go off there for Djokovic, but he starts the tournament and he is away. So let's look at the other scores from today. We talked about Ben Shelton versus Dominic Thiem. 3 sets, not enough from Thiem. You don't want to see it happen any longer if you can't bring up the level that he needs. Coco Gauff gets her tournament underway, 6-2, 6 bagel. And Sloane Stephens crashes out after giving her own bagel, and then 7-5, 7-5 against Burrell. So I think Sloane was actually up a break in the second set after the bagel. So that was probably a tough one to take. And then that was all the day matches. Actually, not the day matches. I don't know. Arthur Ashe, Djokovic, 6-2, 6-2, 6-4 over Albot. Qinwen Zheng beats Amanda Anisimova in the 3-set match. That was a tough one for Zheng, obviously, as Amanda was playing amazing tennis, made the final in Montreal. Wasn't enough today, but Zheng gets through with the 7th seed in a great result for her. And then also Taylor Fritz gets through in 3 sets. Another American gets through after 2 before him had lost. So many Americans. Madison Keys, another American, gets through the 14th seed, gets through Siniakova. And then we had a battle of the Americans. Tiafoe getting through in 4 sets, and they said over 20 shirts used. Oh, look at this. This is funny. Priscilla Hahn. I think I'm getting that wrong. I think I'm getting that mixed up with someone else. Anyways, she loses to Sabalenka, the 2 seed, tournament favorite, in my opinion, 6-3, 6-3. Zverev threw in 4 sets, drops a set, 2 hours, 53 minutes on court. So that's not a lot. It's not, or I guess it's not too much. It is a lot. Djokovic was just over 2 hours and 7 minutes. Badosa threw. Gael Monfils beat Schwartzman in 4 sets after Schwartzman takes the first set and says goodbye to New York. Azarenka, 20th seed, is through. Sakari withdrew during the match against Wang, so she's out. Casper Ruud, the 8th seed, gets his tournament underway with a 3-set win over Yibing Bu. Taylor Townsend through, another American win. Brandon, here's the big upset of the day on the men's side, I would say. Brandon Nakashima beats Holger Rune 6-2, 6-1, 6-4. Now, let's take a look at that. 6-2, 6-1, 6-4. Nakashima beats Holger Rune. If this is surprising to you, you might want to remember that Nakashima beat Shapovalov in Montreal. Maybe that's not that surprising, but then he beat Tommy Paul in the next round. So you're like, hey. And then he played, I think he actually did he beat Taylor Fritz in Cincinnati? Don't tell me he did. He did beat Taylor Fritz, and then he beat Artur Fils. And then he played a pretty close first set against Rublev. So, Brandon Nakashima has been on an absolute tear. He makes players who have more power than him beat themselves. He's a gamer, and he's a pretty badass dude. He kind of had a lot of potential, and then he kind of backed off in his career a bit and was playing challengers, wasn't getting the results, and now he is. So you got to be happy for the kid. That's a big win. Beats Holger Rune. Terrible result for Holger Rune at the US Open. He is completely plateaued, potentially trying to still get past his physical issues that are holding him back right now, but that is definitely a disappointing result. Elena Svitolina threw in 3. Let's look at a few more. Andrei Rublev threw in 3 over Sebu Wild. Dimitrov threw in 3. Krejcikova threw in 2. Humbert in straights. Kaliana in 3. Echeverry beats Mpeshi Pericard, the Cannon, in 3. Jerry Shang beats Bublik. 27th seed goes down in 5 sets on court out on court 11. Dang for Bublik. Heck yeah for Jerry Shang. Peyton Stearns beats Serenko in 2 sets. Rinderknech takes out Eubanks, takes out one of the American favorites in 5. Maybe, puts a little, gives a little shout out to Taylor Fritz there. I don't know. Donna Vekic beats Burrell, and Alexei Poprin beats Sinu Kwan. Let's just see if there's any other big names that have played. Stricker goes out. Niemeyer through. There's so many matches on these early days. Matteo Berrettini unseeded. Keep an eye on him. Wins in 3 sets. Lorenzo Musetti, the 18th seed. These guys are on the outer courts. Beats Opelka. I don't know why he's playing out there in 4 sets. So Opelka gets a set. Musetti's alive though. Emma Navarro is through 6-1, 6-1. Double breadstick. Hello. Who else we got here? Nishioka had to retire. That was actually scary. Kecmanovic. Artur Cazot beats Carreño Busta pretty easily. Roberto Bautista Agut through Nardi in 3 sets. So that's nice to see for the old pro. Jovic, American player junior, Iva Jovic of the US, ranked 389, beats that's great. We leave it in place. Beats. We're gonna find it. Lynette 6-4, 6-3. And to round it out, we've got Griekspoor through, we've got Muller through, we've got Carballes Baena through, and Harriet Dart over Paquette 6-1, 6-2. Okay, let's look at the schedule of play for tomorrow, August 27th. We've got big names in play. We've got Swiatek, we've got Sinner, we've got Alcaraz versus Liu, we've got Pagula. So those are huge names on Arthur Ashe. great to see, to be honest. It's great to see Carlos Alcaraz in the draw after he rolled his ankle in practice. I don't know if you saw that clip online, but he rolled his ankle. Wasn't that bad, but it's definitely bad enough where you're going to be feeling it. So he's going to have to watch that. That's like a serious thing going into a tournament. And yeah, Alcaraz definitely not wanting to have that juju as he goes and tries to win the US Open for the second time. So his ankle's going to be sore, but we'll see how he runs around out there. If they freeze it up, we'll see what they do. But yeah, obviously not ideal for Alcaraz. Interesting. I thought that, okay, there we are. So they've got Collins playing on Louis Armstrong first. Then we got Ostapenko versus Naomi Osaka. I didn't see that one in the draw. That is an insanely big first round. 10th seed Ostapenko versus Naomi Osaka of Japan. Big time matchup. And then we got Medvedev playing Lajovic to start his tournament and to get a win under his belt. Because if I'm not mistaken, Medvedev is on a 2-match losing streak coming into this tournament. Yeah, into this tournament. He lost first round in Montreal, or round of 32 in Montreal, round of 32 in Cincinnati. Those are 3-set matches. This is not. So he should be okay, but we will see. And then you got the night match on Louis Armstrong. You got Bianca Andreescu versus Paolini. That's what I talked about on Best Bets of the Day. And then you got Tommy Paul, American Hero, versus Lorenzo Sonego. That is a tough first round for Paul. Athletic Sonego, and that will be a good match as well on Louis Armstrong. So some other matches, we got Tsitsipas versus Kokkinakis, the Greek showdown, round 1. That's big time. Tough draw for Tsitsipas. It doesn't get easier in life, bro. It just really doesn't. That's tough. Elina Rybakina versus Aiva, and Sebastian Korda versus Mute, and Raducanu versus Kenin. Battle of the one slam wonders. One of them will win in the first round of the US Open, which is going to be good for them. That's a great matchup as well. Caroline Wozniacki back from retirement versus Hebino. Katie Bolter. De Minaur back in action versus Giron, as he hasn't been playing, as he's been coming back from injury. Belushi versus Wawrinka. We've got Canadians on court 5, which is awkward. Mensich, insanely tough first round opponent for Felix Auger-Aliassime, the 19th seed. Who comes and plays right after him? Jack Draper. They're on the same court, court 5. Will there be a fit fight in the locker room? We'll see. Kalinskaya up there also on court 5. And then we've got Fernandez, Leila Annie Fernandez versus Potapova. Potapova. We're going to go see where where Denis Shapovalov is going to show up, because this is a Canadian show, if you didn't know. We're going to go way out. I think it's court 7. That's right. Third up on court 7, Denis Shapovalov versus Botic van de Zandschulp. That's a tough first round, but a winnable one for Denis, I would say. So we'll see if he can get his US Open underway with a win. But to recap, day 1, Dominic Thiem retires from the US Open. Sad to see. Sad to see. It's just one of those things that sucks. Glass of water for Dominic Thiem. You hate to see it. But he was one of the realest players ever, and pure tennis. Guys who play tennis, you know how good Dominic Thiem was. It was crazy. Djokovic wins. He's through. Zverev wins. He's through. The top 2 seeds that played today for the men's side are through. And that's all she wrote for today. If you haven't yet, subscribe. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time tomorrow on The Slice, where we'll be recording a podcast with JP Hovey. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify if you haven't yet. Follow me on Twitter at The Slice Steven. Follow The Slice at The Slice Tennis on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date with all the US Open coverage coming here from the world headquarters. Thanks for being here. Good night, North.